On the news tonight, President Buhari defends rising debt profile, says incessant borrowing necessary for socio-economic development. Ebonyi State Governor Dave Umahi speaks on Peter Obi's presidential ambition, says the former Anambra State Governor, paving way for Southeastern presidency. And World Health Organization, WHO, says Nigeria's death toll from monkeypox virus highest in Africa. Well, many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. While political events often dominate the headlines, the issue of Nigeria's rising debt profile is one that worries everyone. But on Friday, at the inauguration of the Presidential Committee on the National Economy, President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria's debt profile, which as at March 2022 stood at 41.60 trillion naira, is justified. President Buhari further explained that his administration's resort to borrowing is hinged on the need to implement social investment programs. Buhari also expressed the need to upscale resource mobilization and utilization in the country as more could be achieved in this direction.
While citizens' concern about borrowing is well understood, our resort to borrowing must also be appreciated in the context of the resources required to deliver on the menu of the infrastructure, health, and other socio-economic needs of our citizens. It remains a major goal of this administration to continue pursuing the social protection programs. These programs provide support to the most vulnerable of our citizens. This administration is also not unaware of the debates about resource mobilization and utilization. On resource mobilization, our performance as a nation continues to be a source of concern. Tax revenues are approximately 8% of our output. This compares very badly with those countries against which we measure ourselves that achieve 15 to 25%. In the absence of revenue, our ability to deliver the most basic services is limited.
Ahead of the 2023 elections, Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi has expressed confidence in the ability of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, to retain power in the coming polls. Umahi made this known while briefing State House reporters shortly after a private audience with President Buhari at the presidential villa in Abuja on Friday. Responding to a question on Southeastern presidency in 2023, the Ebonyi State Governor explained that while Peter Obi's movement has prepared a very good ground for Southeastern presidency, it does not translate to victory over APC. He also debunked rumors that the emergence of Peter Obi as a third force in the political race has resulted to the better security in the southeast region of the country.
What happened during the primaries of PDP and APC, were kind of miscalculation by people. But to say whether they are ready for the presidency of the country anytime, I think that the movement of P2B is an eyes opener, and that's why I said I love what he's doing. I'm encouraged by what he's doing, because if he's not doing what he's doing, it means that Southeast would have been forgotten. So while my party takes the victory, he has prepared, he would have prepared a very good ground for the Southeast presidency, so that nobody is going to write us off. And you can see the level of his acceptability, which does not translate to victory over APC. I'm sure of that. But it's a good movement, and it reassures the Southeast people and the entire country that, we accept it, and that we one day become the president of this country. P2B movement and all the movements are anchored on God's will. It's only God who knows who will win. But there must be a wish, you know. As a party man, I would wish that our party wins. And if God says no, the next person I wish that should win, you know, is, P2B.
And now to health matters. The World Health Organization has revealed that Nigeria has the highest death toll and confirmed cases of monkeypox in Africa. WHO Regional Director for Africa, Matshidiso Moeti, revealed this at a virtual press briefing. She explained that Nigeria recorded half of the fatalities linked to the disease, with others reported in Ghana and in the Central African Republic. According to the last situation report on monkeypox dated August the 14th and published by the NCDC, Nigeria had 4 deaths linked to the disease at the time.
For monkeypox, there have now been 581 confirmed cases and 12 deaths across 11 African countries. The majority of cases are in Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and in Ghana. And of the 12 deaths, 6 occurred in Nigeria, 4 in Ghana, and 2 in the Central African Republic. Although not a single monkeypox vaccine has been administered in Africa, WHO's provision of 39,000 test kits to countries has resulted in improved testing rates. These are small steps forward, but we are seeing improvements in surveillance and risk perception. WHO's guidance on infection prevention, control, and treatment of monkeypox has also been adapted to train healthcare workers in all the affected countries. Fundamentally, however, Africa is still not benefiting from either monkeypox vaccines nor the antiretroviral treatment tecovirimat, the only doses of which have been administered in a small study in the Central African Republic on the continent.
Stakeholders in the fight against human trafficking and smuggling of migrants have identified lack of proper coordination among relevant government agencies as a major challenge in stamping out the menace. This was a submission at a capacity building workshop for heads of anti-human trafficking units of the Nigeria Police Force on effective response to trafficking in persons. The workshop, organized by the Action Against Trafficking in Persons and Smuggling of Migrants with funding from the European Union, aims to equip the participants with the requisite skills on issues of human trafficking. It also aims to strengthen interagency collaboration among law enforcement agencies for adequate enforcement of anti-trafficking laws.
Yeah, the whole essence of this event is to bridge the gap that exists between NAPTIP and Nigerian Police Force in providing adequate response to issues of human trafficking as it concerns both organizations. That there's need for them to synergize, for them to collaborate and ensure that they work closely as agencies of government to be able to combat the scourge of TIP and SOM.
Capacity building is something that is long-term, but to ensure that it's sustainable. IOM, we're trying to work with NAPTIP and the Nigerian police to see how we may be able to integrate, trafficking into existing curriculum, because as an organization, we believe that integrating, modules of trafficking in the curricula will go a long way in ensuring that, our Nigerian police officers have got the adequate skills and knowledge for them to be able to identify and protect victims as well as investigate and prosecute our trafficking cases.
What we did was to select the heads of anti-trafficking units in all the 36 state commands and FCT, and we brought them here to build their capacity on trafficking persons and make them understand the minimum requirements so that they can effectively deal with trafficking and again strengthen their capacity to continue the work of as anti-trafficking operators. The police has the omnibus responsibility when it comes to law enforcement. So we need them. The police is in every local government. NAPTIP is not in every local government. The police is in every state. NAPTIP is not in every state. Okay, so, and the law empowers us, gives NAPTIP the responsibility to work with other law enforcement agencies. So we're working with the police. How do you work with the police if you don't train them? Our law is a bit specific, which is as it affects trafficking in persons. And so we need them to, first of all, understand the law, understand the demands of the law, understand the minimum requirement and that the United Nations conventions, which defines trafficking in persons, places on state parties and countries.
Well, for more on President Buhari's defense, saying that Nigeria's rising debt profile and the implementation of social investment programs makes borrowing necessary, I have with me Segun Sopitan, who is a financial expert and business strategist. He joins me now to discuss this further. Thank you very much for joining us, Sopitan. Now, President Buhari has said the need to deliver on social investment programs justifies the increased borrowing. Do you agree with this?
Absolutely not. And for a very simple reason. There's nothing wrong with borrowing, and I think this point has been made repeatedly by almost everybody. Sorry about that. So the point is, with the revenue profile of our government, as reported by the Minister of Finance herself recently, being unable to meet the debt service obligations of this government, I really don't understand what the president is talking about. You can't borrow monies that you are unable to even meet debt service obligations, and then you now say that the justification for that borrowing is social investment programs. If you borrow money and you are investing that money in some sort of productive activities, then it will be understandable. So if you are borrowing money and you are investing in infrastructure that will pay for itself or that will increase productivity, GDP, revenue base, therefore the tax income generating capacity of the government, then it would make sense. But to talk about borrowing as justifying borrowing through social investment program, and all that, I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. It makes no sense.
Now, you spoke further on trying to, make sure that taxation would bring in more income for the government. But still speaking about social investment programs, some would argue that without investing in the people, basically, you really can't develop capacity. So I know already where you stand on that argument, but do you not think the federal government, kind of has a point on this matter?
No, I absolutely 0 point. And the reason I say that is, yes, you need to invest in developing human capacity. You need to invest in developing people, right? But the social investment program is not doing that at all. This social investment program was started in 2016 or 2017 or thereabouts. And between then and now, the only thing that we have seen that program being is simply a mechanism for handing out money to some people. You can't develop people by handing money out to them. You develop people by educating them and increasing their capacity to be productive. By educating them, increasing their capacity to fulfill their potential. Because when they are doing that, then they will become economically viable units of society that can contribute through taxation. That's a completely different argument, and you cannot achieve that through a social welfare program. No, you don't give handouts to people, just like the old Chinese saying, the common Chinese truism, teach me to fish, don't give me fish. So what the government is supposed to be focusing on is programs that are very, very deliberately targeted at developing the capacity of people. Education cannot be overemphasized. And this same government that is saying these things is refusing to bow to ASU's demand. They are playing hardball and trying to stare down ASU. And they're saying they want to develop people so they can be part of the tax net. It makes no sense. The only way to develop people is to educate them and expand their mind. And the government, the social investment program, is not doing that.
Indeed, Segun Sopitan, financial expert and business strategist, many thanks for your contribution and your time. Well, the federal government says it plans to equip at least 2,000 Enugu State residents in technical and vocational skills through its skill acquisition scheme, Project TMAX. The Senior Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on Education Intervention, Fela Bank Olemo, made this known when he led the Project TMAX team to meet with the Enugu State Governor, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. He said the federal government has opened an online portal to enroll people between the ages of 18 to 35 in the skill acquisition program. He added that the scheme was in line with the federal government's plan to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by the year 2030.
We want to train more of our people. We say to ourselves that we have to build more centers, so we have centers in every nook and cranny of the state, so our citizens can go to the centers. But TMAX is looking at it differently. We're saying to ourselves that no, we won't build centers. We want to create incentives for the private sector to solve that problem. Because, I believe strongly that any big problem we solve in this country has been solved by the private sector. And I think that the GSM issue is a key thing that we all will remember. We had a NITEL, we couldn't solve our telephone problems. The private sector came in, every Nigerian has a phone. So what are we saying? We're saying that through TMAX, we're saying TVET maximization. We're saying what are the centers you have in Enugu State? How many centers do you have in Enugu State? ITF, being the implementation agency, is certifying these centers. And we spoke to 24 or 29 centers today at the ITF training center here. We met with the 29 of them and said, you know what? You have your TVET centers, you are playing in this space. What is your capacity?
This project, TMAX, is in line with the government of Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi's determination to eradicate poverty, to empower youths in the states. We note that this project is bringing about 2,000 youths in the states, give them opportunity to be self-employed by training them in various activities and schemes, and they are going to develop their own manpower.
A senior advocate of Nigeria, Alex Ezinyo, has called on the government at all levels to invest more in technical and vocational education as a remedy to the country's socio-economic and political challenges. The co-founder of the Alex and Grace Ezinyo Foundation added that an adoption of a national skill policy in the country would enhance youth employment and reduce criminal tendencies. He made the appeal at the training of about 20 youths in the Federal Capital Territory with digital architectural skills.
We have our team youth. Our youth are very productive. They are not idle like some politicians said. I don't agree. It's because they've not been properly engaged. If they are properly engaged, I can tell you, you will not see all what we are passing through. Banditry, robbery, and all those social vices, because an idle man's brain is the devil's workshop. But now, we don't do that because the government have failed in narrowing down what is required in view of our advancement, increase in population.
Some of the children, when we asked them, have you touched a computer before? They had never touched a computer before. That was already short-term impact exactly. So they already started learning things that they've never learned before. Some of them might become architects. We might get some designers. We might have people that are thinking outside the box, whatever profession they do, and thinking not just outside the box in their creative way, but how to impact and how to improve the community they're coming from.
My experience was so nice because the first day we came, they taught us how to operate computer, or how to use computer, how to build on a computer, and when we were done with our work, they gave us something to eat and they take us back home.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, King Charles to address nation after death of the Queen. Details of the story and more right after this break. To stay with us.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places, the Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. President Muhammadu Buhari has defended Nigeria's rising debt profile, saying the implementation of social investment programs makes borrowing necessary. The president made this known at the inauguration of the Presidential Committee on the National Economy at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Buhari also expressed the need to upscale resource mobilization and utilization in the country as more could be achieved in this direction. We also told you that ahead of the 2023 elections, Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi has expressed confidence in the ability of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, to retain power in the coming polls. Responding to a question on Southeastern presidency in 2023, the Ebonyi State Governor explained that while Peter Obi's movement has prepared a very good ground for Southeast presidency, it does not translate to victory over the APC. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletins, for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. China's National Health Commission Authority says it will require air, trains and interprovincial bus and ferry passengers to obtain a negative PCR test result within 48 hours before departure from September 10 to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The Commission added that individuals staying at a hotel or guest house or visiting tourist sites must hold a negative PCR test result obtained in the previous 72 hours. The government will also require a 48-hour negative test result to attend large gatherings such as conferences and exhibition. Scientists have developed a virus-killing plastic that could make it harder for bugs, including COVID-19, to spread in hospitals and care homes. The team at Queen's University in Belfast say their plastic film is cheap and could be fashioned into protective gear such as aprons. According to researchers, it works by reacting with light to release chemicals that break the virus. The research was accelerated as part of the UK's response to end COVID-19 pandemic. Well, we'll take a break here and return with more stories in business. To stay with us. Welcome back. Olabisola Adebayo is on standby to bring us up to speed on the latest in the world of business. Over to you, Bisola.
Thank you very much, Folashade. Welcome to Business News. The recently released foreign trade report by the National Bureau of Statistics shows that Nigeria exported goods worth 7.41 trillion naira in the second quarter of 2022, representing a 47.5% increase from 5 trillion naira recorded in the corresponding period of 2021. Also compared to the previous quarter, export value increased by 4.3% from 7.1 trillion naira recorded in the first quarter of 2022. As a result of the increase in export earnings, Nigeria's trade balance increased to a surplus of 1.97 trillion naira, the highest since Q2 2018. But we'll go on a short break now and return with a review of the stock market. In the second positive trading day of the week, the bull maintained its stance on the floor of the NGX, closing at 0.09%. Although the all-share index is still very far from the 50,000 mark, the market closed the week on a positive note. Adding positive sentiment on the floor of the NGX today, we have NEM and CHAMS topping the gainers counter alongside 8 other equities. On the recovery part, we see that the market summary is mixed as 319 million units of shares valued at 1.8 billion naira were traded in 3,335 deals. And for today's worst performing stocks, Oniflower and Learn Africa topped this counter, as well as 14 other equities. Meanwhile, will the market maintain this positive close and begin the new week on a positive note? Keep our fingers crossed to see what happens. Now, a switch to some selected global stocks. It's a merry trading day for the FTSE, the Dow Jones and the Nikkei, as the bulls showed up, making these stocks rise on track to break a 3-week losing streak. Little or no profit taking took place as investors considered Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's latest comments on UK inflation. As you can see here, the UK's FTSE is recording a 1.23% increase, Dow Jones 0.91% increase, and Japan stocks Nikkei also recording a 0.53% increase. Well, that's all on the stock market report. Back to Folashade for the rest of the news.
Well, many thanks, Bisola, for that update. And on the foreign scene, King Charles III has addressed the nation from Buckingham Palace after the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. The new king renewed his mother's lifelong promise of service, saying her dedication never wavered. He said his son William would become the Prince of Wales and his wife Catherine becoming the Princess of Wales. The Queen died peacefully at Balmoral Castle on Thursday afternoon at the age of 96. Away from the foreign scene and now in sports, the Premier League has confirmed that this weekend's fixtures will be postponed as a mark of respect to Her Majesty of Queen Elizabeth II. This was announced in an official statement on Friday morning. Richard Masters, Premier League Chief Executive, added that further updates regarding Premier League fixtures during the period of mourning will be provided in due course. The postponements follow Queen Elizabeth's passing on Thursday, with the country now in a state of national mourning. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.